So where does the current Ring of Death shine, I think, is the next question that we need to ask on this. What do you think? And then I'll tell you my opinion on this.
It's probably, if anything, is just a lot more situational and I would say mid.
Yeah.
Looking at kind of mid-tier things that don't necessarily have insta-kill mechanics, but
somewhere
I don't know.
somewhere that you're learning a boss. And that's a perspective that I think more people need to have when they're looking at these changes. Because what you said is exactly the same perspective that Taxi brought when I brought these Ring of Death changes to him this week. Exactly the same thing you said. I don't know if you read down the notes on this, but that's pretty much what worked their way into here.
No, it was just
it kind of felt like that, right?
Yeah.
And the question shouldn't be, it's a nerf, but now it's useless. The question should be, how does the Ring of Death compare to where it was a month ago before the death cost changes? Because you were also onto something where the changes to the death costs trivialize what the Ring of Death was actually used for before. And what?
Yeah, see, that's what's hard about is it like a hard nerf? I guess, but it's only a hard nerf to something that's only been around for a couple weeks, right?
And for something that's being used in a small amount of cases compared to where the majority of the population who owns a Ring of Death is going to use it.
Right.
Because previously, it allowed you to keep your Beast of Burden. It cheapened your death to being a portion of a Onyx, and it also gave you some minor adrenaline on killing blows, which, boo-hoo, that's not too much. In terms of the adrenaline, but the main reason people used it was to cheapen your death costs, right? But that's not a factor anymore. So with those changes, it was clear that the Ring of Death was designed to fit more in towards the learning, as you mentioned, mid-tier, low-tier PVM environment, the beginner tier. It does the exact same thing, but now if you're, like you said, if you're running a Ring of Death and you die to a hit that's, not one of these huge insta-kills that people were trying to use, if you're, a couple hits away or a few seconds away from killing a boss, you're probably going to be able to get that kill. But if not, you're allowed to see what happened, and then you can teleport out, wipe the effect, and come back.
That was the other thing.
It saves you a trip to Death's office.
Yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to. I was going to say, like, it gives you a chance to see kind of what's coming up. I mean, I know in the age of YouTube that's weird to say and stuff, but sometimes I feel like, especially on a boss level, you kind of got to be in there doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch a lot of videos, but it's not the same as like when you're actually trying to do it and you're rattled.
Yeah, exactly.
And because it evens out that damage, it gives you, I don't know, it feels like it gives you a chance to see more. So this to me would be like day of release. This would be a good day of release item, right?
Yeah.
Like when a boss comes out, give you an extra chance to kind of see what's coming.
As long as it's, not a huge insta-kill, right?
Right.
Yeah. And, if I ever go back to Raksha, which, I might, if I, get into that level of PVM again, I can see myself opening up with a Ring of Death.
Yeah, and
just to have, because that's one of the bosses that gave me the most trouble due to the rhythmic nature of it. Let's just say, and on the whole, deaths are worth so much less now that there's less of a need to have the Ring of Death as a whole. And what that means, people might not like to hear it, the value of the Ring of Death goes down. The essential function of it at its core didn't get any worse. It just becomes, like you said, like Taxi mentioned, more situational for people learning boss mechanics. And that should have been the true story of the Ring of Death this week.